I want to thank my husband's dear friend, Vice President Vance, and his phenomenal wife, Usha, for their love and support. You guys honored my husband so well, bringing him home. I want to thank President Trump and his incredible family for the same. Mr. President, my husband loved you. And he knew that you loved him too. The evildoers responsible for my husband's assassination have no idea what they have done. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country. You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife. The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry.
Before I go any further here, I want to zoom in on just one little bit of this speech by Erica Fransved, the wife of the late Charlie Kirk, at his funeral. She talks about evildoers and how these people who did this don't even know basically the hell that they've unleashed on the world. And it's really important to point out that we only know of one suspect. There is absolutely nothing that shows that there was any type of a conspiracy. Maybe there was. We don't know yet. Already, even at Charlie Kirk's funeral, we are seeing scapegoating of an entire group of people, the left. Let me be completely clear again. Charlie Kirk should not have died. Murder is never okay. Violence was not the answer. Charlie and Erica should be sitting down to breakfast this morning with their kids, period. But already the president and other leaders are blaming the left. They are declaring war on people like me. Charlie's widow, even at his funeral, rather than calling for peace, is calling for further conflict. Charlie is being transformed into Kaiser Wilhelm right in front of our eyes. Battle on, they're all saying. I know this language. I used to speak it myself. It is the language of Armageddon, of holy war, of a movement that wants blood in the streets because they believe chaos brings their kingdom. In a lot of conversations and news stories and articles, I hear people talking about they want a war, they are furious, they won't take this anymore. And I need to pause right here for a minute to clarify something. Yes, there is a they, the MAGA base that I was part of not even 2 years ago. Millions of people who are part of this movement that follows Trump. They exist. But they are not the problem, and I'm not even talking about them anymore. From now on, I'm only talking about one person, Donald Trump. He has changed who we are and what we stand for. And as a former MAGA girly and former Trump fan myself, I'm sick of it. We need to name it, and we need to stand up to Trump, all of us right now, or our children won't have an America to call home. I'm Jennie Gage, and this is Life Take Two. I'm Jennie Gage, former MAGA, former Christian nationalist, former white supremacist, former Mormon trad wife, and I know there's a lot of great stuff out there on YouTube. I always appreciate when you stop on one of my videos. I have some really important things to say today. I hope that you'll stay with me until the end. I left MAGA and the Mormon Church only to find that the whole nation is now one giant cult war. Trump hates everyone. I honestly think he's just a lonely jerk with brain rot. I don't even know why he's so angry. And he's using his base to fight against his enemies. We are not each other's enemies, but he has made sure we think we are. We have all been radicalized by Donald J. Trump. And he has very efficiently created a cult without walls in his base, in MAGA, and pushed everyone outside of MAGA into panic mode. And he's sitting back and enjoying the show. As a former cult member with a high level of expertise in cults, let me tell you how a cult without walls is formed. How people like Trump, Chairman Mao, Stalin, David Koresh, Joseph Smith, whoever, it's all the same. It's just different cookie recipes, but they're all baking cookies. Let me tell you how they build these cults without walls. I had a neighbor dog for a while, And the neighbors had sunken this invisible fence, right? It was just a wire that went around the perimeter of their yard. And so the dog had this choke collar on. And there was no fence. But the dog knew if he took one step over that line, zap, the wall was invisible, but real. My life inside of the Christian nationalist, white supremacist, alt-right Mormon cult was invisible. I didn't live in some little town with tall walls and barbed wire and people up there ready to shoot me if I tried to run away. The wall didn't exist. The wall was in my head. When I was MAGA, Fox News was the wall. My TikTok algorithm was the wall. X is the wall. The pastors are the wall. Let me give you some of the ingredients to cult mind control. Divine leader, the guy who's going to fix all our problems. Isolation. And that isolation can happen if you're living side by side with other people, but you don't mingle with those other people. You're not actually seeing those other people. You are just stuck inside of your little invisible fence, right? Echo chambers, where once you're inside of that fence, your ideas are echoed around you by everybody else. They're all saying and thinking the same things. Tribal script. Some of that tribal script is actually verbiage that people use. Some of it is things like clothing, like hairstyles, like the type of car that you drive. I have people comment on my platforms all the time that I still look MAGA, that I look Fox News. I had a man last week in my comment section tell me that I'm too pretty to be a leftist and that I need to come back over to the other side. Where's my purple hair, he said. Me being dressed like a Mormon MAGA trad wifey, that's not part of the script that they've come to accept, right? It bothers them. The next tool of mind control is outrage. You always have to have anger about something, that persecution complex. You're always under attack. That's part of what makes a cult. And the last one is moral superiority. Moral superiority creates an in-group and an out-group. We are better. We are pure. We are chosen. I believed deeply that Heavenly Father loved me better than most of the rest of his children. He had put me down here on earth in the Mormon church in the United States of America, in Phoenix, Arizona, in my family, because I was better, because I was pure, because I was chosen. I was part of his elect. Everybody else, the wheats and the tares, they were all tares. This short list of ingredients right here in my life led me into Christian nationalism and white supremacy as a child. Donald Trump is pitting his cult against everyone else. Feminists and cat ladies and Democrats and trans people and atheists and immigrants and everyone. He has made half of America his boogeymen. The same way an entire race of humans in Germany became boogeymen when they were not and should not have been. They were just citizens that people in power didn't happen to like. And a lot of us are feeling like the only solution is to fight back. In 2023, there were 46,723 gun deaths in America. And yes, there are so many reasons that lead to gun deaths. And I don't want to talk about guns today. I want to talk about humans hating on other humans. We are a violent nation. And in the statistic, the number of our children that are being killed and the number of political deaths is growing rapidly. The death of Charlie Kirk was not the answer. Violence is not the answer. I promised you the other day that I would give you a different answer, a way out that doesn't require bullets or blood, a way that could have stopped Europe from falling to fascism in the 1930s, and a way that could save America now. It's not the apocalypse they lust for. It's not the Civil War they're hoping to ignite. It's not their Armageddon, and it's not Donald Trump's chance to come in and take control of the entire world. It's something braver, something harder, something we would have to work to build together. Do you know the greatest fear of every cult leader? There's literally only one thing that they live in absolute terror of. They are terrified of you getting along with the enemy. Cults are so fragile, and the minute a Mormon becomes friends with their ex-Mormon neighbor and realizes that they're nice and they all start to get along, things start to crumble. The leader loses hold on his followers because they realize that the things that are in their head actually don't exist. My neighbor with the dog, he once had the power turned off on his house for a couple of days. I don't remember what happened. They had like a home flood or something. And the electric fence was actually down. It was disarmed. There was no electricity. But the dog never left their yard. He never left the grass. The control was in his head. The control they have over us is only in our heads. And they don't want anyone on the outside to tell us that. What Donald Trump fears the most is for us all, liberals and conservatives and Democrats and Republicans and gay people and straight people and Black people and white people and everyone, for us all to get along. And that's exactly what we have to do. That is what led to me waking up and leaving the cult. I accidentally made a couple of lesbian friends. I connected with the outside. I didn't even learn about any of the false truth claims about the Mormon church or anything. I connected with other human beings, and boom, one day I walked out of the Mormon church at age 44, deconstructed everything, and now live a fairly cult-free life. And that's exactly what we have to do on a massive scale to make sure that leaders who live to cause chaos never rise to power in the United States of America again. Violence is not ever the answer. It is not the answer now. Nationwide, peaceful resistance is. I call my plan America's Denim Revolution, and that's literally why I went out and bought myself a denim shirt today just for this video with my little antique flag brooch, because we're taking back America. And no, I don't mean we, feminist, woke, liberal, leftists. We, as citizens of the United States of America, are going to wrestle this nation back from Donald Trump. And it starts here. I want to take you back for a minute to my high school years. I'm a child of the 70s and the 80s, so let's go to Czechoslovakia, 1989, a communist regime that had ruled for over 40 years. No elections, no free press, no real freedom at all. But when Soviet influence started to crumble, something began to stir in all of the people. It started with students, peaceful protests, candlelight vigils, then workers joined, artists, mothers, like literal Czechoslovakian housewives walked out of their kitchen and joined forces with everybody else, priests. Václav Havel, a playwright who had been imprisoned for his dissent, became the voice of the movement. Within days, 500,000 people were marching in the streets of Prague. Within weeks, the Communist Party resigned, knowing they no longer had influence or the ability or desire to turn the tide. They knew that the citizens who had united together against their leadership were impossible to overturn. By the end of the year, the people of Czechoslovakia had chosen their own leader. They elected Václav, the playwright. The Velvet Revolution was won with no guns, no bloodshed, just sheer, unstoppable collective human will. This era in time makes me so emotional. I was in high school at the time of the Velvet Revolution, and I was so inspired by the Czech people. Now let's talk about us. Could this happen in America? We live in a democratic system, flawed for sure, but we have ballots, not dictators, term limits, not lifelong rule. I think we forget that right now, feeling like the reign of Trump will last forever. Here's the deal. The United States has existed for 249 years. Trump has served 4.5 years in office, only 1.8% of our history. The United States has survived the Revolution, the Civil War, the Spanish flu, famines, floods, world wars, a Dust Bowl, Al-Qaeda, attacks on our soil, Pearl Harbor, so much more. We are still here. Donald Trump right now makes me think of a poem. I had to memorize this in high school. I'm going to read it for you. It's called Ozymandias. It's by Percy Shelley. I met a traveler from an antique land who said, 2 vast and trunkless legs of stone stand in the desert. Near them on the sand, half sunk, a shattered visage lies, whose frown and wrinkled lip and sneer of cold command tell that its sculpture well those passions read which yet survive, stamped on these lifeless things, the hand that mocked them and the heart that fed. And on the pedestal these words appear, my name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my works, ye mighty, and despair. Nothing beside remains. Round the decay of that colossal wreck, boundless and bare, the lone and level sands stretch away. Shelley beautifully encapsulated the concept of the fleeting nature of our leaders. Donald Trump doesn't realize this himself, but he is just a drop in the ocean that is America. Trump is an old man. He will die one day in his sleep, and America will go on long after. He's impacting us in major ways, But it's not Trump that we should be worried about. America has systems in place to protect us from Trump. But what happens when those systems start to rot from the inside? What happens when the will of the people is ignored, when corruption is normalized, when the courts are hijacked, when the media is gaslit and the powerful get more powerful while the rest of us are told to stay in our place? You feel it, I feel it, something is deeply wrong. And here's the thing, just because we have elections doesn't mean our democracy is safe. And just because a president was elected doesn't mean that the people of the United States can't rise up and legally push them out and keep them and their cronies out through mass mobilization, impeachment pressure, and total civic resistance. But here's the deal. We must do it together. If we're fighting each other, we can't fight the real problem. That's the choice in front of us right now. MAGA says it's war. They say Charlie's death is proof that the left is bloodthirsty. But I'm telling you, we are not. And we should never get there. The answer is not violence. The answer is the opposite. Millions of peaceful voices and bodies demanding change while also being the change. Unfortunately, America has this nasty habit of turning everything into a bloodbath. And I think it's time we all break that cycle once and for all. We are writing the future today that our children will live tomorrow. And we are writing a shitty future for my kids and yours. I think it's time for us to be the cycle breakers. And let's be clear. America doesn't need another civil war to solve any of this. We don't need to burn it down. But what we do need is a cultural uprising that makes business as usual impossible for Donald Trump. Think mass peaceful demonstrations, not just in DC, but in every town. In every town. Planned strategic general strikes. Teachers, healthcare workers, truckers, restaurant owners. We stop the machine that Trump and his cronies are feeding off of. Women refusing to carry the weight anymore, emotionally, politically, reproductively. Intentional financial boycotts, shop local, support small businesses. Don't purchase products from elites. Help one another for free, like literally go over to your neighbor's house and help them do yard work. Save money to purchase things instead of putting it on credit, and tank the credit industry. I personally have an appointment at my bank to shut down my Chase account this week due to their Epstein involvement. And I have personally been boycotting Amazon for going on 7 years. Full disclosure, I've made a handful of purchases for necessities that I couldn't get anywhere else. But if I can walk to a farmer's market or a local business and purchase there, I do. And I have for the past 7 years. And then just like we saw in Czechoslovakia, we need veterans, immigrants, artists, teachers, housewives, scientists. We need everybody coming together, standing together, and saying, this is all our country. Here's what we don't do. We don't storm the Capitol like traitors. We don't generate more martyrs to fuel the hate. We don't answer MAGA's call to a holy war at all. We occupy the nation's soul like the patriots that we are. Remember the civil rights movement when just sitting in a seat on the bus, when just standing in a whites-only line, when just sitting at the counter of a diner, when that changed everything. We have always changed this country from the bottom up. The only question is, do we still believe we can? So what would it actually take? The Velvet Revolution worked because people stopped waiting for permission. They stopped asking the powerful to fix what they broke. They fixed it themselves. And most importantly, they believed in and supported each other. The entire nation, left and right and rich and poor, they all stood up together and said enough. I know America is different. We have courts, we have elections, but we also have a deep rot in our foundation. White nationalism, oligarchy, Christian extremism, billionaires cosplaying poverty while we drown in debt. None of them will be on our side. They will be sitting in their fancy estates in Florida, whining about our ignorance. And if a new velvet-style revolution happens in America, it won't be velvet. It'll be denim. That's why I named it the Denim Revolution. This is the official fabric of America, thanks to the Strauss brothers. And I know we stole denim from Denim, France, but still, this is what America is built on. Our revolution will be calloused hands, crying mothers, unpaid rent, and tired teachers holding signs at rallies in the rain. It'll be neighbors meeting across fences for the first time in years. Democrats and Republicans and Mormons and ex-Mormons and, lesbians and Baptists. connecting human to human like we're supposed to. It'll be people who refuse to be pushed into MAGA's war script, into Trump's war script. It'll be you and it'll be me. And again, I know I say this a lot. 2 years ago, I was MAGA. I spent 48 years in Christian nationalism, and today I'm trying to be the change. And if I can do it, if I can unite with people that I never would have even said hello to if I'd seen them walking on the sidewalk in front of my house in my formal life, if I can do that, if I can change to build a better future for my children and my grandbaby, then so can you. We don't need to buy guns. We need to build bridges. We don't need to scream slurs at other human beings. We literally need to grill burgers and share a beer. Here's what I want you to do. Vote, but don't stop there. Protest, but don't stop there. Organize your neighbors, but don't stop there. Use your voice, even if it shakes, even if it scares you. I'm scared with every video that I do lately. And watch the halls of power. They're watching us right back right now, because this isn't about politics anymore. It's about who gets to own the future. Will it be a cabal of corrupt men in suits and robes, or will it be us, the artists, the workers, the mothers, the misfits, the teachers and plumbers and nurses and nail techs and restaurant owners, the thinkers, the brave, those of us that were brave enough to put down all of our weapons and connect once again? That is the greatest act of bravery, by the way, that I've ever personally engaged in my entire life. Leaving this all behind and connecting people who were my former enemies. We in America don't need a coup. We need a collective awakening. Not with bullets, with that sort of bravery. Here's the heartbeat that I want to pulse inside your very ribs. We, the people. There's this little phrase on our money, e pluribus unum. America is such a unique nation because we don't have one bloodline. We don't have one genetic pool. Out of many, one, the United States of America. We are no longer united. We are divided. We haven't been united for a very long time, and I'm sick of it. With all of this in mind, here's how you're going to fight. Go out tonight after work and introduce yourself to the neighbors you don't know. Change starts person to person. We don't need trickle-down community coming from the top. We need to build back our own tribes. Tribal decay got us here in the first place. It was a plan that worked. Donald Trump cannot keep us from strengthening our tribes. We're stopping our own selves. We're doing that to our children and their children. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can build with the people on your blog. Put down your iPhone this weekend. Put on your shoes. Throw on a pair of jeans and get out there. The Denim Revolution. I love the name. I think it's catchy. I know it's cheesy, but I love it. It starts today. Not with violence, with vision. Not with fear, with fire. Not with despair, with intent. My final thought is just this. Again, remember, we are writing the future today that our children will inherit tomorrow. Write it well. Thanks for watching. I'll be hanging out in the comments. Hi guys, I'm just realizing as I edit this video that I forgot something. If anybody works in Governor Newsom's office, will you please have him reach out to me? My email will be in the description. I would like to volunteer my time to help with what he's doing. Thank you.